Arthur Bishop is a man of mystery and precision. He's known as a mechanic, but not the kind that fixes cars. No, he's an elite assassin who takes on high-stakes, highly specialized jobs. Bishop is calm, collected, and remarkably skilled. He never makes mistakes. Each of his jobs is executed with the highest level of care and thought. For him, it's not just about killing, it's about doing it in the most efficient, least traceable way. There's always a plan, always a backup, and Bishop always finishes what he starts. His job requires him to be invisible, no flashy moves, no unnecessary confrontation, just a job done perfectly. The movie begins with Bishop on a job. We're introduced to his ability to seamlessly blend into any situation. The air is thick with tension as he prepares to eliminate a high-profile target. What's remarkable about Bishop isn't just his skills, but the lack of emotion in his approach. He's a man who's been doing this for so long that it's second nature. Every decision he makes is calculated, down to the last detail. He's not here for glory, he's here to get the job done and disappear without leaving a trace. And that's exactly what he does. Bishop's first assignment is as clean as you can get. He's hired to eliminate a dangerous cartel boss who has been causing trouble. It's a delicate job, not one that can be solved with brute force or chaos. No, this has to be a quiet, undetectable job. Bishop enters the mansion of the target, looking like just another visitor. He moves through the building with purpose, but no one pays him any mind. The tension builds as he finally reaches his target, the cartel boss. The plan: drown him in his own pool, making it look like a tragic accident. Bishop moves like a shadow, performing the act with swift, unflinching efficiency, and just like that, the job is done. And Bishop walks away, leaving no sign of his presence. It's as if he was never there. The silence of his professionalism is chilling. After completing his job, Bishop heads back to his home in Louisiana. But things aren't as simple as they seem. He's a man who's used to being alone, but now he's tasked with something that shakes him to his core. His next job is one he never saw coming: a request to kill his mentor, Harry McKenna. Harry is the man who taught him everything he knows about the trade. Bishop owes Harry his life in many ways, and now he's being asked to eliminate him. It's a mission that strikes deep into Bishop's heart, but he's a professional, and that's what's expected of him. It doesn't matter how personal it is. A job is a job. Bishop prepares for the mission with the same cold, methodical approach he always does. But this time, there's no satisfaction in it. It's a quiet, somber affair as Bishop stages Harry's death to look like a carjacking gone wrong. Harry's death is a painful blow to Bishop, one that weighs heavily on him. But the work must go on, no matter the cost. At Harry's funeral, Bishop meets someone he wasn't expecting: Harry's son, Steve. Steve is angry, confused, and looking for answers about his father's sudden death. He's suspicious and driven by his own need for revenge, but he has no idea who really killed his father. All Steve knows is that someone took him away from him, and now he's going to find out who. Bishop, too, is dealing with his grief, but he hides it well. He's a man who's never allowed his emotions to cloud his judgment. Yet, when he looks at Steve, there's a part of him that feels guilty for what he's just done to the man who once looked out for him. Steve, eager to follow in his father's footsteps, approaches Bishop and asks for help. He wants to learn the trade, to become a professional just like Harry. Despite his hesitation, Bishop agrees to teach him. It's clear that Steve has no idea what he's getting into, but Bishop sees something in him, a desire to prove himself, maybe even a reflection of the man he once was. Bishop begins to train Steve, but it's not as simple as it sounds. Steve is impulsive, reckless, and doesn't fully understand the consequences of his actions. He's eager to learn, but struggles to follow Bishop's instructions. Bishop, ever the perfectionist, is frustrated with his students' lack of discipline. In a series of lessons, Bishop tries to show Steve the intricacies of being a mechanic. He teaches him how to blend in, how to set up a job, how to eliminate a target with precision. One of the first things Bishop teaches Steve is how to stay calm in the face of danger. They go on a small job to eliminate a target, a middleman, who's been making waves in the underworld. Steve is tasked with setting the stage. He's to blend into the background and make sure everything goes as planned. But of course, things don't go smoothly. Steve's impulsiveness gets the best of him, and he ends up causing a scene. While the target is taken care of, the entire operation nearly blows up. Bishop is frustrated with Steve, but he doesn't give up on him. He sees potential, even if it's hidden under layers of inexperience. As Steve gets deeper into the world of assassination, Bishop puts him through even more rigorous training. They move on to more complex jobs, eliminating high-profile targets, dealing with tight security, and making sure no one ever suspects them. Bishop pushes Steve harder, showing him how to cover his tracks, how to plan for every possible outcome. But Steve is still struggling to follow the strict rules that Bishop lives by. Every time he falters, Bishop grows more frustrated. Their next job is a tough one, eliminating a powerful figure who's tied to a dangerous organization. Bishop and Steve team up, but this time things don't go according to plan. They're caught off guard by a group of armed guards, and a shootout ensues. It's the first time Steve gets a taste of how dangerous their world really is. He's forced to think quickly and use the skills Bishop has taught him to survive. But even as the job is completed, it's clear that Steve still has a long way to go before he can be trusted to handle things on his own. Despite the growing tension between Bishop and Steve, the two continue to work together. Bishop's frustration mounts as Steve's reckless nature continues to interfere with their jobs. But in a world where mistakes can be deadly, Bishop is running out of patience. Steve's actions begin to raise suspicion, and the professional assassin starts to question whether he made the right decision in taking Steve under his wing. However, there's no time to back out now. They have another mission, one that seems straightforward on the surface. The target is a corrupt businessman who's been running a human trafficking operation. The mission is clean and calculated, or at least it should be. As they set their plan into motion, Steve's nerves start to show. It's clear he's not as prepared as Bishop thought he was. In the heat of the moment, Steve's impulsiveness causes a critical mistake. He shoots the wrong person, an innocent bystander, while trying to take out the target. The situation quickly spirals out of control. Bishop, with his sharp instincts, barely manages to get them out alive. They flee the scene in a tense escape, but the damage has been done. Steve, shaken by the chaos he's caused, is left to grapple with the consequences of his actions. Bishop, on the other hand, sees this as a sign that Steve is not ready for the life of an assassin. Things take an even darker turn when Bishop is approached by a powerful enemy, the people who have been pulling the strings behind the scenes. His reputation has earned him the attention of a shadowy organization, and they want him dead. They've realized that Bishop knows too much, and they'll stop at nothing to eliminate him. In a sudden twist, Bishop finds himself betrayed by the very people he's been working for. In the world of assassins, trust is rare, and betrayal is a constant danger. Bishop knows that the only way to survive is to act quickly and decisively. He doesn't waste any time getting rid of the threat, but the revelation that the people he's been working for want him gone leaves him shaken. For the first time in a long while, Bishop feels the weight of his profession. He's been in the business for years, but this betrayal cuts deep. It's not just about survival anymore, it's personal. Bishop realizes that he's in a race against time. The people who betrayed him are relentless, and they've placed a bounty on his head. Everyone in the underworld is now gunning for him. He knows that he has to get out of town and disappear, but it's not going to be easy. The enemies are closing in, and every corner he turns, there's danger waiting for him. After the chaotic battle, things begin to settle down, but only for a moment. Bishop and Steve retreat to regroup. Bishop, the seasoned professional, believes they finally dealt with all immediate threats. Steve, however, has been quietly piecing together the truth about his mentor. He's been harboring a growing suspicion that Bishop was the one who killed his father. Steve confronts Bishop directly, demanding answers. The tension is palpable, and Bishop, ever the pragmatist, doesn't deny it. He admits to completing the hit on Harry McKenna, Steve's father, but only because it was an assignment handed down by the organization. He tries to justify it as part of the job, explaining that Harry had betrayed the group. But for Steve, the reason doesn't matter. His father's life was taken by the very man he trusted to guide him. The moment feels like a breaking point. Steve, brimming with rage and betrayal, decides he can't let Bishop walk away. Bishop, sensing the danger, doesn't take his eyes off Steve. Both men are now caught in a deadly game of mistrust and revenge. Steve executes a plan to outsmart Bishop. As they part ways seemingly on good terms, Steve rigs Bishop's car with explosives. He watches from a distance as Bishop enters the vehicle, and with a press of a button, the car goes up in flames. Steve believes he's finally avenged his father, walking away with a sense of closure. But this is Bishop we're talking about, a master tactician who always stays one step ahead. As Steve returns to what he assumes is his new life, he finds an unsettling surprise. Bishop anticipated Steve's betrayal and left behind a note. "Steve, if you're reading this, it means you underestimated me." Steve's confidence shatters as he realizes he's been outplayed. The camera cuts to a new scene: Bishop walking away alive and unharmed, having survived the explosion by preparing an escape plan in advance. His meticulous nature and years of experience saved him yet again. He leaves no trail behind, vanishing into the shadows to begin a new chapter of his life.